What up? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And look at you. You done stumbled upon little OTB Saints, where we bring you all the latest black and gold coverage.
Who are the Saints going to draft? Who's going to be their quarterback? What does the salary cap look like? All that information and more.
Hope you enjoy it. Like, subscribe.
Is it a bit ridiculous to be talking about a mock draft for an NFL season, a mock draft following an NFL season that has not happened yet? Yes. I would agree with you. Objectively, that is ridiculous. But there is something tantalizing when you read Matt Miller's piece on ESPN and you see that he has the New Orleans Saints selecting Quinn Ewers 10th overall. Now, on the pick itself, a couple of thoughts real quick. I'm not necessarily 100% sold on Quinn Ewers in terms of where he ranks in the hierarchy. I do think you have a big three in college football quarterbacks going into 2024, right? Like in terms of NFL prospects, I think Carson Beck, number one. Everybody seems to be in the hive mind having Shadur Sanders as number two, and then Quinn Ewers right there at number three. Outside of that, it's kind of an odd year where you have a lot of great college quarterbacks, some who may even have better years than the guys I just mentioned, but they're not the NFL prospects because of size, arm strength, kind of makeup, style of play, like Dylan Gabriel, right? Jalen Milroe, even though Milroe's interesting. Like, I do wonder which out of these guys that I'm going to name, or maybe it's somebody else, but which out of these guys that I'm about to name are going to do the Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels thing potentially, where they're the ones who rise out of nowhere during the year, have the good combine, then all of a sudden they bust their way in to the big three. Because remember, that's what we had last year going into the year. It was all supposed to be Caleb Williams, Drake May, and kind of Michael Penix Jr. And then everybody else. And then Jaden Daniels ended up being better than all of them. So who do you think out of this group, and maybe that there's Dylan Gabriel, Jalen Milroe, Noah Fafita, Jackson Dart, Jalen Daniels, Cam Rising, Cam Ward. There's Riley Leonard, Caden Salter. I mean, Connor Wegman could potentially make waves. He's someone that the NFL, I think, would like from a prospect standpoint as well. Nussmeier, with a really good year, could be a huge riser. I think he'd probably need 2 years to get all the way into that top group. Certainly, Iamaleava from Tennessee, even though it's probably a year too early on him as well, would be somebody to watch. But again, a lot of these names, maybe outside of Wegman, Nuss, and Iamaleava, because I think they are good NFL prospects. The other ones are damn good quarterbacks, but maybe not going to be on the radar for a first-round pick. What I am down for the New Orleans Saints, like even if I'm not about Quinn Ewers necessarily, and I'm also not sure you could get the third best quarterback at 10 if recent drafts are to be believed. Now, this year you had such a run on quarterbacks that you will have a number of teams that won't be in the market for one, right? Broncos just took Bo Nix. Commies just took Jaden Daniels. Patriots just took Drake May. Vikings, J.J. McCarthy. Panthers, Bryce Young. Cardinals seem to be happy with Kyler Murray for now. So, those are a lot of the teams that are picking ahead of the Saints in this hypothetical draft. So, maybe there's a situation where the third quarterback falls to 10. But the overall point of all of this is to say no matter who I'm sold at, no matter how this season develops, I am absolutely sold on the idea of the Saints taking a quarterback in the first round. They have to do it eventually. And if you're going to bust out on a first-round pick, I would argue that it's an easier to accept bust, or maybe more maybe it's more enjoyable, even though I actually feel pretty red. But I would rather watch a first round quarterback bust and watch that blow up than another Davenport, another Peyton Turner, another Trevor Penning. Those hurt even worse because you're drafting a position that is more easy to scout, even though scouting is not a perfect science at any position. Quarterback's without a doubt the hardest, however, right? So you take a quarterback, you might as well flip a coin. You just have no idea whether that person's going to be good or not. I mean, look at the top 3 picks of this draft. 2 of them will probably suck. And who is it? Out of Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels, probably only one will end up being great, and the others will probably suck. And so it's like impossible to know, right? But when you draft an O lineman or a D lineman, those are positions that are easier to scout that you should have a higher hit rate on. And so when those bust, it hurts even worse. So yes, eventually these Saints have to take a chance, have to plan for the future, which Derek Carr is not, even if he has a great year, and they have to go take a first-round pick. Now, obviously, I would say this. I think situationally, you have to be picking in the right spot. Sure, if you're at 10 here, and if the third guy was to fall to you at 10, well, that's a dream scenario. But I think the Saints may be a bit better than 10 this year. And so if you're picking in the teens, do you sell out to move up and get a guy? I probably don't think so. But I don't know. Maybe that's a bit of a silver lining for Saints fans entering this year. Hey, you're really good. You make the playoffs. Great. Okay. You had a fun year. You watched winning football. Something to be excited about there. If it all goes awry, you end up being terrible, you end up sucking, well, then maybe you get to start to finally look towards the future. Or maybe go 9-8 or 8-9 and you just remain in purgatory. We'll see.
Wow, just amazing black and gold takes right there, Jake.
I don't think I've ever heard any takes that are better than the two guys that just gave you that take.
And you can keep getting them by going ahead and liking, subscribing, ringing the bell to get notifications when we post. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next OTB Saints.